Welcome to another edition of Real Talk TV here on AOC Community Media. We want to thank all those who are here in the building today. Sister Salita McCall, my special guest. We're waiting on Brother Keith. The first show of the season. Sister Salita, how are you doing?
I am doing great, and how are you?
I'm doing great, sister. Welcome to this edition of Real Talk TV. I was going to say Digital Soul TV or Digital Soul Radio, but we also live on Digital Soul Radio also. So we got a new platform we could add to the mix. And we want people to understand you could go to www.digitalsoulradio.net, www.digitalsoulradio.net. You don't even have to put in the www because, those web addresses changes from time to time. And now they're in what you call a secure protocol. So you don't have to actually put in the www. Like some people got used to saying those three letters. Sister, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, and how are you?
I'm doing
Well,
okay. I'm doing okay.
Thank you for inviting me to the show. I want to say thank you for each and every listener out there. Yeah, thank you. I'm just excited. We got a new year in, so many new things going on, and I'm just hoping everyone's new year has started out great. When in actuality, you guys, this is actually not our actual new year, but that's the way we've been told. But yeah, I just thank you. I want to thank you for even inviting me on the show, Mr. Busy Man. You guys, me and Brother Jay go back a long way. And he'd been so busy, hadn't had time. Me and him were supposed to do some projects together, and I'm still waiting.
Yeah. What we're doing this year, our I'm gonna say this for myself, my pre-10-year bucket list.
Okay.
Kind of negative, right? Okay, because you just going in for 10 years. But we got a lot to talk about. We have an open mic today, the first show of the season. So much going on. I don't know where you want to start. I don't know if you want to give your acknowledgement to the people. I know you've been doing some great things, and you are a community activist, an entrepreneur, I would say a social media influencer in a positive way, if we can use words,
Well, I mean, because of our long-term relationship, I haven't done anything different since the last time actually I've done a show with you. Just trying to stay busy, trying to enlighten, trying to teach our people about who they truly are. And having situations that have taken place that brings all of that out, and just having the platforms for people to come and say and feel comfortable talking about their issues is a very big thing. And that's how we started Universal Collective Network 7 years ago. Right. We started that because we didn't have a platform to talk and get things out. We created that, and it's been going strong on Facebook for 7 years, going on 8 years now. So the longevity of relationships we have with people, and these people changing with you, being able to do that and to meet people, great people like Brother Jay that comes in and be part of your tribe, in other words, fighting the political playground, in other words, that we have to deal with, fighting just the social issues that are going on. It's a task, and not just everybody can do it. And making a difference when you don't even realize you're making a difference. That's basically for right now, I can say. And we do have a lot of things on the table right now when you're talking locally and when you're talking on the national level. That we can't take it on. We need more people to recognize the things and have the like-minded mindset to want to see these things change. And it's in our hands. And we as Black people have to understand, you guys, if we don't start um, stepping up and saying I'm Black and proud, say it loud, I'm Black and proud. If we don't do that, you guys, we're going to be the fourth person on the ladder, because they're bringing in people all the time, and we're going lower and lower. The more people they bring in, the lower we hit on that population ramp. Um, if they want to try to make us insignificant, they're very well doing it. Um, Not to say that it's going to work, but they're trying to by erasing our history. Don't want their kids to know about what we've done, our ancestors have done for this country. Let's disregard the ideal that we fought in every war America has had. You know, you look at some of people who haven't gotten their ribbons or their bouquets until years, many, many, many years after they've died, fighting for this country. So, and I'm saying that from the veteran side of me. So you can't erase us if that's what you're trying to do. You can't erase us, and that's what we as Black people have to understand. Um, that we can't erase. They're not going to be able to erase us. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, that's great. That's great. We want to hear some conversation. That's what the show is about.
Mhm.
Great conversation, and those who are looking, we're on Facebook, Twitter. Uh, well, Twitter is known as X. We're also on a new platform called Kick.
Oh,
KICK. Do a search for Kick and go to Real Talk TV on Kick. Certainly, you'll see the whole unadulterated broadcast of this show. I want to give a shout out. You're a veteran, right? And
yeah.
Sister is a veteran. She's going to go some surgery this week, and hopefully she'll be okay. Shout out to Brother Wilder Senegal, the Community Matters show, which I direct, and Brother Keith. We're waiting on you, Brother Keith. If anybody knows where Brother Keith at, tell him we're looking for him. That's how I'm gonna do my open call for him. Good brother, good young man, very talented, very knowledgeable in things that's going on. Also, shout out to all those who support the show. You could call us at area code 337-983-6080. We're taking your phone calls. Again, we're on AOC Community Media. That's the Cox 15 and the LUS Channel 3 Lafayette. Shout out to AOC Community Media. Consider becoming a member. Support these platforms that we are on. We also on a radio platform also. So right now, we want to focus on AOC Community Media, Cox 15, and my platform and our platform, Sister Salida, you were so much of a part of Digital Soul Radio. Finally got it like I want. DigitalSoulRadio.net. You could listen live to the audio portion. You're on TuneIn and everything. Now, enough of my plugging of my other.
Well, look at your show. Plug on.
Yeah, yeah. So, sister, you mentioned something about uh the system, the status quo, the people out there, and not us in general, bringing in other say groups into the United States and Black folks, and I'm focusing on Black folks.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's amazing, and I'm not a fan of the Democrats, and I'm a registered independent if I'm gonna play the political game. Some people say don't play the political game. I understand that. And I see where President Biden, whether or not you're a fan of him, he went to a Black church yesterday, to a church where so many of the parishioners got murdered by white supremacists, and he was using those words, white supremacy. Now, those words right here, using it on this platform, we're in the heart of Lafayette. Or you in some parts of Louisiana, I guess. I don't know. Those location. White supremacy is like a foreign word to be used on these platforms in local radio, local TV. You never hear them say that, but you see the national news say it, right? But the thing is, people got to understand where they live at, where they're at. Lafayette in general, Southern Louisiana is the heart of these people who support the white supremacy movement. And when I say white supremacy, Brother Jay, show us evidence. Well, if you got the greater party electorate, whether they so-called blue dog Democrats or conservative Democrats, right-wing Republican conservative, they support the platform that Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is not the problem. I keep saying this.
No.
He is the symptom of the disease of white supremacy. It has always been here, but it's like what we say, and I hate to use this, cancer, and it has metastasized into the Donald Trump and the white conservative movement. And we have a governor in this state, Jeff Landry. Now, John Bell Edwards, he's a conservative Democrat, and I don't view them as our friends also. And people got to understand that we don't have no permanent friends. We have a lot of permanent enemies. That's the way I'm looking at it. And we have to be able to navigate and to live within our culture, with our existence here in this state. So I'm saying in 2024, I'm letting these elected Black politicians, my focus is on them. If you can't stand up like the brothers in Tennessee or do anything of substance or symbolic stance, well, Black folk need to just move on from the whole situation.
Exactly. When we talk about the political game, because lots of it, this labeling that we've gotten so caught up with, Democrat, Republican, I'm along with you. I'm an independent. I ran away from that Democratic plantation long time ago, because I realized that, like you just named them, conservative Democrats, that's just another way of saying, whenever you use the word conservative, means to save, to hold back. It's still, that means that you're a Democrat that's holding back on some of the things that probably be productive for other people, but you're not thinking about other people. So I don't get caught up so much in those labels. When we talk about, me and my husband have this conversation about Donald Trump all the time. I don't, because we took a couple of things that he said and we ran with it, because Black folks, sometimes we do that. And he's a racist, he's this and this and this. He was a man who took opportunity and ran with it just like anybody else did. He had a group of people that believed in him, and he said this years ago about the ideal, if I'm going to run for president, I'm going to run as a Republican, because he said they're the dumbest ones. Now that's what he said, and he did exactly that. Right. And Republicans went behind him, did the whole 9 yards, because he knew what was going to happen. You can't blame him for what he did, because actually he did exactly what he was supposed to do. Right. And it was to do the upheaval, to get people all upset. And like I said, it's just a funny conversation that we have. And I think it's really that we as people, we don't think for ourselves on a lot of levels. And because we don't, we follow. We're what we call sheeple. Whatever the next trend is, we run with it. So when it comes to politics, if you don't think on your own and you don't learn on your own how politics really, really works, you're going to be forever chasing that quote unquote leader. When we all have a tendency, not to say we all are gifted with it, but we have a tendency to lead. And if you're not trying to do it for selfish reasons, and you're trying to lead people in a way to get them to be educated and understand the process of how politics work and how actually the world works, you have a better you can get that better understanding. You're not going to follow behind anybody. And I've said this long time ago. Black folks need to start creating their own political party. I am never going to back down off of it. We need our own political party. We need a party that is going to do the work of the Black folks. And I'm saying it like that. We spend trillions of dollars in America, and we don't get none of that back.
Well,
We spend trillions of dollars and we don't put it back into our communities. We don't do the things that need to be done, and then we sit around and we complain and whine and cry about things that happen around us or to us because we're not putting the power where the power needs to be. Yep, we got this. I call him Jeff DeSantis Landry. That's my name for him.
right.
We allowed the Republicans and Democrats too, because they secretly do stuff that's very Republican. We allowed them to put him in office because you know why? Because we're at a point where we're so discouraged and we feel so downtrodden that voting doesn't even, it's not really a factor to a lot of us. Okay. And we are saying whatever they're going to do, they're going to do. That's that mindset of not wanting to work and fight the good fight.
Right.
And because of that, this is what we get. And then we sit back and complain about it. Well, he's in there now, and you can guarantee that there's a thing called recall. Okay. And sometimes it don't always work. And then sometimes it does. So if you think that you have enough power behind you to recall him, then maybe that's what you need to do if you're so unhappy with what he did. And that's what another thing we have governors that come into play. We vote them in. They don't do the work. And then we sit back and complain for the 4 years that they're in there. We don't try to remove them. Now, if you're on a job, okay, because he works for us. So if you're on a job and you're not doing that job to the standards that your boss wants you to do it at, what does he do? Do he give you a pink slip? Yes, he gets rid of you because you're not being productive and you're not benefiting the company as a whole. So they get rid of you. They fire you. So what is so hard about firing your governor? What is so hard about rallying up to get rid of your mayors that are not doing their jobs? What is that issue? Why can't we do that? There's nothing stopping you. It's a law. I mean, it's policy. You can recall somebody when you're not happy with them. But we sit around and we complain and we keep letting them do what they do, and we're dwindling and everything, the opportunities we have is slowly but surely disappearing. And we're not saying that we're sitting around complaining about it. We're not trying to do anything to change it. So I say a lot of things that are happening to us is because we are allowing it to happen. And when we have people who want to fight the fight, we want to go against them. We want to complain about them. So what do you want? Do you want to be able to have policies in place that make you a priority, or do you like policies the way they are? We don't try to change anything. We don't put money where it needs to be. We put money in things we spend a lot of money, especially in Louisiana, on entertainment.
Yeah.
We're so caught up in entertainment. We like to be entertained, okay? Because it takes us away from our everyday humdrum lives,
Right.
where we're not doing anything productive that's going to make a difference. You look at our education system here. You guys, how long have we been on the 49th, the 48th, the 50th in the states when we talk about the stats, when it comes to education, healthcare? I mean, our economic system. Why is it that we're always on the last three? Why do we always hit there? Because you know why? Because we've allowed policies to be put in place where we don't thrive. Okay? You don't want a state full of smart, intelligent people, because then that changed the narrative for the ones who've been trying to get over on us.
Yeah.
You think about it, So when are we going to change it? We get we get our black folk up in there skinning and grinning and dancing and prancing and not doing nothing. We get excited about the first black. I've been in that position of being the first black this and all that. It's good. It's a good title. But what are you doing? What are you doing?
Or the
What are
first
you doing
black,
with all that?
the first black person to go be on the podium with Jeff Landry at the inauguration. You know,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other day
yeah.
I saw that, uh, and my thing is this: whether it was John Bell Edwards or Jeff Landry, because you didn't see John Bell Edwards, the Democratic governor that black folks was lifting up as a savior of black folks. You did not see him come hard against the Jeff Landry agenda that he alluded to he was going to be doing, right? And
Hmm.
these people are all one and the same. And we
Yeah.
got a lot of black politicians in this year. People gonna get mad. I might get kicked off a couple of platforms. I don't care. And it's a new day for black folks as far as media. It's a
Hmm.
new day. We're gonna call names. It started out with Carl Cavalier opening my eyes up about some of these politicians who I've met, who I've talked to, who we had on some of our talk shows, and I could have a meaningful conversation uh, when they do something good or great. We could acknowledge that. When they're doing something that's not in the best interest of black folks, we could acknowledge that too. And it's a tendency that these politicians want to get mad at you because you're calling them out on something that's so illogical. Now, the case of Ronald Green, I know we keep revisiting this thing. I'm gonna never let it die. Whether it was the case in New Iberia with Sheriff Lewis Acker or the Ronald Green case, I'm never going to stop talking about it. I'm not going to talk about the key players. And we had a chance. We always being served up some righteousness on a platter, and they give it to us, right, to stand on
Hmm.
righteousness ground and to prove the point of something so wrong that we could right, and we don't do anything with it. We had that
Exactly.
issue in New Iberia with the so-called civil rights group that backstab the people in Iberia Parish over Sheriff Lewis Acker, who basically walked out a free man after he did him and his deputies did all this damage to the community of Iberia Parish. Well, we had the chance with Ronald Green, and we see the same issue. We had a few groups doing some things, the ACLU doing some things, but after that, there was nobody. And we see it with these elected politicians. We had a state representative from the Lafayette area who had a chance to stand at a press conference and bring out the truth about Ronald Green, but they chose to defend the cover up of the governor, John Bell Edwards, who's a Democrat. And this is where we got to draw the line. We're not accepting, a lot of black folks not accepting that no more. So you
Hmm.
mad, the politician could get mad and call the managers and say, get them off the TV, get them off the radio. Don't give a damn. We're gonna continue
Hmm.
to talk. Sister, you know me, I've been like this for 20 some years, and I don't care that anybody wants to hold up a situation for a platform for us to be on or me to be on and tell me I have to not talk. Now, I'll be respectful and cordial when I have certain people on as a guest, but I reserve the right to point out something that is so wrong.
Hmm. Exactly. You're so right with that. And we, the mindset, and I'm a big proponent of paying attention to our mindset, what we allow to filter in and what we take and actually use. A lot of times, money has a lot to do with a lot of things.
Of course.
Living here where I live at, because I live a little bit up north from where you're at, we are dealing with the corruption in our area. And what we've done is, because we've so instrumental in making things happen here and changing some of the narrative, is because we notice that it's the money that is being paid to our poor black people. See, let me tell you what I've realized and I've learned, um, with us. You take a city or a town with a bunch of poor black people in it, low income people that don't feel like they can do better, you can turn them into killers, murderers, thieves. You can turn them into drug dealers. You can turn them into that. The reason why you can, because it's one thing that they're lacking that everybody else has, and that's that dollar bill. And it doesn't take much to buy a politician, okay? To buy anything when it comes to people selling their souls to be part of something that is not beneficial for the black people as a whole. And this is a big thing we have in Louisiana anyway, period. So we feel privileged when we can rub elbows with the white people who are actually creating a platform where we're being more and more oppressed. So when you point those things out to them, then you become the enemy, the messenger, like I was telling you earlier. You become that messenger no one wants to deal with. They ostracize you. When they see you coming, they walk the other way. That's what we deal with. But you know what? We're all right with that. The group of people that I'm with, that I work with, we are phenomenal in the work that we do. Because not only do we talk the talk, we walk the walk, we do the research. So when we give out information, we know it's validated. Okay. And we've been doing, like I said, it's been 7 years. Universal Collective Network has been on the air and been in places. I've gone places with you, rallies and all that. We've been doing the work, and it might be small to some people, but it's huge to us. When you can get your mayor to mention you in his news briefing, and it doesn't necessarily mean if it's good or bad, we don't care. He mentions you, you know you're putting pressure on them. You know you're making a difference in them. Okay, you know you got their attention when you can do that, and you can do it on a grander scale, because it starts small, because everybody ain't for that. They'll tell you I'm not into politics, but politics, you are into politics when you get paid, because it takes a political decision to make sure that you get paid every time you go to work. So yeah, you're into politics. We've had a problem here where we own our own utilities, and we are the majority in the city where we're at. Okay. And we literally are ran, and I call it Ferguson because that's what it reminds me of, after Mr. Brown got murdered. The ideal that it's literally majority black cities that are ran by a majority white government. How in the world do you think you're going to get equal justice in anything living in a city like that? You got to change the narrative. If you are the majority, then you need to act like the majority in everything you do. And let me say this, every black person is not going to think like you do. Okay. Everybody is entitled to their own beliefs, but that does not mean that you have to associate yourself with them. People think I have this issue when we talk about unity. Okay. Let me tell you this, I don't unify with anybody who's not about changing our narrative for us. I'm not about them. I don't care who they are. I don't care how famous they are. I don't care what they do. If they're not about making the black people a priority and making sure that we get an equal playing field, then I don't care how black you are like me. I don't care about that. I'm looking for our black folks to come together who is going to make a difference for us, not including everybody else. Us. Our issues are not everybody else issues. Okay? So because our issues are really unique issues. We don't even want to recognize them as unique because we want to be so much like everybody else. But in reality, we're not. We're not. No matter how good it looks, we're not. And our issues are unique, and we need to pay attention to those issues. And we need people who are going to work on those issues. So if we can stop doing that as a black people, you're going to have to understand you're going to have to separate from your own people in some instance in your life if you really about making a change. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
Because believe it or not, Brother Jay, they don't always get along. They don't always they separate themselves all the time because they have an agenda. And if you don't fit that agenda, you're not part of them anyway. So and you have to be able to be bold and stand out. Because I'm gonna tell you something. That governor that's in that office right now, we are about to see something.
Mhm.
While everybody's sitting around whining and complaining and oh, I'm not gonna do this and I'm not gonna do that. You're about to see something, and you're gonna have a choice to either get off your butt and work and see things change, or you're going to be left behind. And we as Black people better recognize that now.
Yeah.
We better recognize that now because they're putting these governors in the right places to do what they're doing. Think
Yes.
of Jackson, Mississippi, real quick, and I apologize. I don't want to
Right.
take the
No, no,
whole
you're
time to
right.
talk.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
But look at Jackson, Mississippi. They've already created a whole nother court system
Um,
in the middle of Jackson, Mississippi, historically Jackson, Mississippi. How did they have that much power to do that? And Black folks didn't stand up and scream and holler and kick and fight and protest. They literally created a whole nother court system,
changing the game. You call that changing the
changing the
game.
game. Now, if you
While the
think
game
that
is its own.
exactly, if you think Mississippi burning can do that, just imagine how many other states they're already thinking about negotiating, doing some stuff like that.
But here in
Right here in
Louisiana,
your own,
I'm
huh?
hearing local politicians, well, local leaders, even on the level of the city parish new elected mayor in last,
Hmm.
where I heard some and people who I somewhat listen to say, well, let's have a wait and see attitude. But
And
I
that's what we
know
do.
we had the mayor president who's a Republican, that's Kathleen Blanco's daughter, former governor of Louisiana, who was a Blue Dog Democrat. She is the new mayor of Lafayette, Mayor President Lafayette. Now the thing is, would 1 hour callers ask her if she would denounce the Trump agenda or Donald Trump itself, and she said she couldn't do that at the time, and she said it in so many words. She didn't exactly say it like that. Now the thing is, what our Black elected leaders should do, and I sometimes I gotta do a litmus test, sister, to know where you're going or if you're gonna go there. Why can't they stand up and ask her now that it was the Black community that carried her over the finish line for her election? Why they can't ask her, well, will you denounce the policies being put forward by the greater Republican Party? You've seen what's going on in DC. You see all the crazy stuff going on. My thing is, right now we need some symbolism over substance before we could get to the substance thing. Because if you're not going to do that, well, we need to know where you're going. So we could be 4 years. We're gonna be lied to. We could put people, Black folks, in places to keep the people, the critics like myself, shut up. Shut down this type of talk on the media because we trying to criticize you. Just because we help elect you, that don't mean we in love with you to the point we're gonna let you do anything. The Lafayette area is the headquarters of white supremacy. If you don't believe me, Youngsville, Louisiana is actually the capital of uh, white supremacy, USA, aka Louisiana. You don't have to
Hmm.
believe me, just start looking at the statistics. So I'm saying Black folks are not ready to fight. What
Hmm.
they do, they put Black folks in strategic places to dumb down our community, and then
Exactly.
they song and dance and do a big concert. They show up at the concert. They give you some Zydeco and some Creole, make you think you're another race called Creole, and you feel all right. And so you say, Brother J, everything's okay. Everything's okay while Rome is burning. So
Hmm.
we gotta understand the dynamics of this political game that's been going on for years and years and years. And I judge it by this. Louisiana statistically last in every conceivable category. I did that for the 18th time on all the different platforms. Judge
Exactly.
it by that. This governor's not going to move the needle. Matter of fact, he might make it go worse. We might have more
Hmm.
negative statistics, more people
Exactly.
locked up, more people sick and dying,
Hmm.
more poor people. That's
Hmm.
that's the three T's that we don't want to talk about. So go ahead.
Exactly.
I'm
No,
sorry.
no, you
All right.
100. No, 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 no. You did 100%. That you're right on it with that. And that's what I say, what I said about this governor is the ideal. We think we going through something now. If you look at Florida, I love Florida. When I
Yes.
was in the military, I was down in Sarasota, and we used to have to go down to Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. I have a couple of friends and family that live in Florida. I will never live in the state of Florida. Never, because I've been watching how we talk about Louisiana being racist. You look at doggone Florida, how Florida is treating their people.
Yeah. People are
It's worse. It's
yeah.
almost worse. Okay. So when you look at how his mindset is, you guys, guess what we're doing? We're allowing them to create DeSantis's all over United States.
Right.
That's what we're doing because we don't want to stand up to this craziness that they're doing. How in the world are you going to erase us out of the? How is it that he has that type of power to
Sister,
erase us out of the books, the history books? And we are American history.
you got to look at and judge Jeff Landry. I'm not saying I respect anything about him. I don't respect white supremacists like him. I say he stayed on point. He stayed on message. He never changed. He never wavered. This is what we don't do. Once
Yeah,
they
exactly.
start smiling at us and shaking our hands and inviting
Yeah.
us to their white supremacist compound, wherever it might be, or to a shooting range, or to go duck hunting with them, we start changing our tune about them. Then we go back to the
Yes.
community and say, those activists out there, they're just talking negative. They don't know what they're talking about. They crazy. That's the thing. And then they go
Hmm.
ahead and placate the people. And this is Jeff Landry stayed on message. He stayed on point. He did what he's going to do what he say he's going to do, no matter how hard that these few elected officials in Baton Rouge that we got from the communities are going there. No matter how hard they say, well, we should get along. All of this Rodney King, can we all get along? That never worked.
No, that don't
And
work. It
even
don't work.
our sister Michelle Obama, I love her. But guess what? When she said, when they go low, we go high. Hell no, that never worked.
It never
I was
worked.
going high and it went worse.
Yeah,
We gotta
yeah,
use
yeah.
the same tactics that they use here in America.
Exactly. You're right. 100% right with that. It's that we have to stop. I mean, we're loud, we're boisterous. So it don't take all that. You guys, if you guys are sitting back and relaxing and enjoying the ride, just wait. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better because we're not their priority. We're not what they really want. Okay.
I don't want to
We're
hear
just
another politician sister come and say, well, we're gonna march in front of the governor's mansion. We need to do a march. I don't want to hear that because you
yeah,
done that years ago. And you're
yeah.
gonna do it the same damn thing again. I'm telling you this,
50,
man.
50, 60 years later, we still in the same position.
Yes.
We haven't gotten better. And another thing, you guys, I don't know if anybody's paying attention to the population decrease that's going on in Louisiana.
Right.
People are running from Louisiana. No
Yes.
matter how
And the
great
third
we
straight year
are,
has lost population. Yes.
we have lost population, and not only on the overall scale in our small cities, in our towns, they're losing people. And you got to understand what happens when your population starts to decrease. Federal funding changes.
Yes.
Okay, the amount of federal funding changes tremendously because a lot of grants and a lot of money that the federal government gives us is based off of your demographics and your population. Okay, so keep that in mind when you look at the ideal that hey, it doesn't affect me, it doesn't bother me. Yeah, it does, because federal dollars, no matter what nobody says, the federal dollars help every state, and they're allowed to apply for them. Okay, because they need to, because every state has a low income population. Okay, and they're supposed to be benefiting from that. To show you how powerful I know we are and we can be, here back in April, we had a bill that our mayor was trying to pass through. It was a meal. I'm sorry, it's called a meal, and it was $100 million meal. Well, it wasn't ready to come up until 2028. He was trying to get it passed in 2023, which is 5 years earlier. So he threw a special election together. I mean, a special special campaign together for it. Okay, and that costs money that you pay for whenever they do a special vote. So the city council had this information back in February, okay? Never even mentioned it to the people. The people had no knowledge of it. We got a hold to it and we worked and we got the information out. So when people actually went to the polls to vote on this millage, it did not pass because it didn't have anything in there for us. When you can have that much influence and power over getting people to understand how things are, it is fantastic. And I'm saying that because I know a little small town like this can do it. You guys can do it no matter where you're at in Louisiana. You can make a difference. We got out there and we made sure people got to the polls and we told them what the problem was. The problem is when they wrote up this millage, they put in there a couple of things that happen in the Black community, but it says not limited to. So what they were saying was they don't even have to work on anything. It's not limited to just that. So we can take this money and put it anywhere around the city where we're not. Okay, when you break down the districts, we're not in those areas that they were going to not put a limit to where they were going to spend the money. So when you pay attention to the writing and the wording, that's why it's so important to have an education and understand how things work. When we realized that's what they were doing, we went after that. So what I'm saying is everything that we feel like we're not part of, we need to be fighting it because you pay taxes here. Okay. You spend your money in their stores. Okay. Because we're not going to really support each other when it comes to businesses because we have every excuse not to. Okay. And a lot of times with these businesses, the reason why they sponsor these people is because they done promised them something lots of times. Okay. So if you're a business and you support your Black community like you should, you're going to get you're not going to probably get favored to other people. Okay. Because you got to remember when you go and spend money in certain stores, that goes back into their neighborhoods. Nothing comes back into our neighborhoods. And we wonder why our neighborhoods don't flourish. Okay. We got to look at every part of how things work in order for us to understand that we are powered. And we are powered not only by our dollar, we're powered by our spirit because we're resilient. Every time they try to knock us down, we bounce right back up. Okay. And we keep making things happen. We got to keep that attitude. But in politics, you need to be a little bit more stronger and more aggressive because those laws affect all of us. Every law that they make down there in Baton Rouge affects us. Okay. Whether it's good or bad, it affects us. And we have to understand that.
Let's just hope they don't have a two-tier standard when it comes to applying the law, much like what they're doing in Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, Jeff Landry, I mean, he's proven that he's willing to try everything that the DeSantis or
yes
was around Trump. Because, again, I'm going to call Trump is not the problem. He's just a symptom because Trump is not the smartest person. There are people who, you know, all the people that, you know, the Roger Stones, the other guy, he looked like he was in a nuclear war. What's his name? The blind guy that got convicted, who used to head, he got his own line. I don't even remember his name. That's how much I want to get him out of my mind. These people are the influences around Donald Trump. And let's hope that Jeff Landry does not adopt everything. Because, you know, the fight is, you know, you could only fight so much, and what people do, they give up. And we also have collaborators. We got people who still want to sing, again, the Rodney King song, Can We All Get Along, no matter what.
Exactly.
And I want to go into this. And again, we are distracted. Like you say, distractions are great. It's great that we could clown and be entertained by Cat Williams and what he's saying, but there's some bigger
Mhm.
stories in the Black community that we need to pay attention to. Uh,
Mhm.
what's going on, where we going to stand in the political future, social, economic ladder here in the state of Louisiana and beyond.
Exactly.
We talked about. I heard Brother Rashad Ritchie, and shout out to Brother Rashad Ritchie on WAOK in Atlanta, and also on the Young Turks Network. He brought out the point about, and it identifies with Louisiana, that the whole immigration issue, and you brought that up when you first, how they're bringing in a lot of people, and I'm not hating on any other group. Everybody wants to get out of poverty. Everybody wants to do better, and they see the United States as a beacon call to come here. But here in South Louisiana, sugarcane farmers, the most conservative group, bunch of people that you could ever talk about, they're getting subsidies from the government to grow sugar that we don't really need. Uh,
Mhm.
we got sugarcane fields for miles and miles, all most of South Louisiana. But the people working in the industry are immigrants, are people, migrants.
Mhm.
And it's curious that the same people who give tons and tons of money to the Republican Party leaderships and groups and think tanks, the same people, even the business lobby, the construction company, the major construction company who employ these people who building all the homes and houses and subdivisions in South Louisiana, got all these immigrants and migrants working for them, give tons and tons of money to these Republican think tanks. But they're the same people who are saying that we need to go down to the border with our guns. That's a lie. They got Black folks stressing with these people about these people taking our job, but these are the same Republicans, the Jeff Landry, who had people in his business, private business, working, immigrants, migrant people working in his business, making extra money, paying them low wages. This is how we're being played. And Rashad was bringing that point up about the immigrants. The people who are dumping in these Democratic or Black dominated cities are Republicans. We had one on the radio, Albert Lee Guillory, a Black Republican wannabe hater of Black folks, hater of his Black skin, come on our radio station, and I was nice, and Sister Khadijah and I, and said that the Democrats are dumping, and whether or not we view it in that language, I'm just saying the Democrats are dumping these people in these Black cities, and we got to do something about it. No, Albert Lee Guillory, your friend Ron DeSantis or the Jeff Landry types, Donald Trump are the ones who putting him on buses. Governor Greg Abbott in Texas, Ron DeSantis in Florida are flying them out on taxpayers' dollars, flying them out to these cities to put them in the Black community purposes to have Black folks all upset about that. You got to
Mhm.
know who your enemy really is.
Mhm.
Don't understand that point. So I just want to bring that point about, especially here in Louisiana, the people who are giving to the Republican Party or the sugarcane farmers out here in South Louisiana, the lobby, the Sugarcane League, which is a powerful lobby that goes to Baton Rouge and get all this extra money to grow sugarcane that's feeding the whole health problems in Louisiana, cancer and diabetes and kidney failure and all of that stuff. So we got to understand that and do our research and see where just follow the money.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly,
about being
exactly,
racist. It's about money and profit.
exactly. Now you said something, and it put me into another perspective of what you were saying about the immigrants.
Mm.
So the question I have for us, whoever's listening, what makes this different than what they did during slavery?
Yes.
America was built, and people can get upset. I'm not anti-America. I have a right to complain where I pay taxes, where I work, where I live, where I eat. I have a right to complain about it. What makes you think this is no different than what they did during slavery? It's just a little bit more sophisticated and
Yeah.
it's used technology. What makes this any different? I'm not calling these people slaves. I'm just saying the process that is being used is also part of how they did us.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you guys looking for from America? You got to remember, United States is an old white man, and I'm saying it just like I am, that grew up with the mindset that they're superior and they're better and they're going to always make us feel like we're not. So, what makes America this old white man who wants to have power over our women's reproductive organs, the way we eat, sleep, live? What makes this any different? Y'all got to look at what America was based on. It was based on a lie. So if I can make you think the grass is greener over here, you're going to come, because America is really not any better. If you look at our antiquated healthcare system here, you go to other countries, they pay for healthcare. They pay for women to be off to have children. They encourage women to have children. They encourage, they take care of their elders. If you look at our system, it's antiquated. No matter how great in technology we are, we're still a lot further behind than most other countries are. America is no longer that beacon that it used to be. And that's because we allow the wrong people to be in office, because we allow the wrong policymakers to make policies that are not helping us. That's what happens in this situation. When you talk about the immigrants, yeah, they putting them in Black communities. Now, I heard Chicago, and I'm going to say this real quick, that bothered me, say something. There's a group of people in Chicago where they're very upset, where they closed all them schools. Remember when they closed all those schools? And now those schools are where these immigrants are staying, and they keep dumping them in Chicago, and the people are very upset. Well, there's a group of them who are leaving the Democratic Party to go to the Republican Party. Do you understand what I'm just saying, and how the dynamics of that? Instead of creating, you have the power to create a whole nother party that's going to help you. And you're sitting there and you're talking about going over to the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Let's make sense, you guys. Let's make sense. Because we are powerful. Again, we are powerful. Create our own party, political party. That's all we have to do. Because guess what? The Republicans are, I'm going to go support Trump. I'm going to support people like Trump. Why? Why?
Yeah. Leaving
because
one when you devil to go to another devil.
Yeah. Exactly. You got to remember, they say the right wing and the left wing. What is it connected to? It's connected to the same bird.
Yes.
You know? So we got to think about that when we say that. And they are now, I have heard that there are people leaving the Democratic Party in numbers now.
Oh, yes.
But we're not doing anything with it. We're going over to the Republican Party. What sense does that make with us? None.
And all this criticism of Black folks by certain leaders, talking about we don't go vote and all this in the state of Louisiana pertaining to the last election. No. That's not even going to fly anymore with these young people. These young people are not accepting it. Even look at Biden. He went to a Black church and did his speech about white supremacy. You're not going to reach that Generation X in the church. You got to go some different places, even if we had to believe Joe Biden was sincere.
Mm-hmm.
They got it all wrong. They got it all twisted. This new generation is independent, forward-thinking people, and they're not putting up with none of that crap from either one of the parties.
Nope, none whatsoever. Not anymore. And that's good.
I'm going to say this. We have to wind down. We're getting ready to log off on AOC. I don't know if you want to continue this or you want to log on, but AOC is getting ready to go up there. I want to thank people at AOC Community Media, Cox 15 and LUS Street for having us on. Consider becoming a member of AOC Community Media. Sister, hello?
Yes, I'm still here. Okay.
So you want to continue this conversation or you want to log off? That's up to you.
No, I'm good for right now. I am good for right now. You're welcome anytime. I want to thank everybody out there who's listening to us, and I'm hoping we're making sense on what we're saying and how important this is for us to do our duties as taking care of our communities and making better ways for us to live. We have a right to live here, regardless of what anybody says.
Right.
We built America and we have a right to live here. We have a right to serve what we need to serve, but we have to understand they make their people priority. I don't know why we haven't made ours.
Thank you so much, my sister. We'll
You're
talk.
welcome. All right. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.